Hello again, I'm here again with another video. This time I'm going to be talking about dash cams. The reason why I bought a dash cam is obviously there's lots of crashes these days and lots of crashes for cash that you need to be very careful about. So I thought it was really, a good idea to get a dash cam put in the car. A lot of manufacturers now have started to put cameras in as standard to record everything that's going on. And as you know, when you're towing a caravan or you're driving around in your motorhome, a lot of people are impatient, and I always found that quite a lot of people around me were quite aggressive. So I got the camera just as a bit of insurance for myself to capture anything that might happen when I'm driving. So this is the dash cam that I've got. It's a Nextbase 312GW. It's GPS. It's got Wi-Fi and it's 1080p full HD, and it's got a 140-degree wide-angle lens. The Wi-Fi, I don't actually use that. You can get an app on your phone and you can actually stream direct to your phone if you need to. That's the mounting on the top. At the top you've got an AV out, and that's where you plug it in to charge it up and you can connect it to your computer. On the side, there's where the card goes. You just press the button or just press the card. You need nails for this, I ain't got any. And then the card comes out. It's a micro SD, and as you can see, I use I've got a 32 gigabyte in there, so I just put that back in. And then at the bottom of it, it's got the microphone there because it records, and when you're driving you can switch the microphone on and off, and it's got the reset button just at the bottom there. On the back of the screen you've got your on-off button. I'll explain what these two are, and that's for the Wi-Fi, which I don't tend to use. The menu button, I'll go through that, and I'll go through these other buttons here. So we're going to switch it on. So you hold your finger on the button and the camera comes on. Okay, so it tells you there that it's in camera mode, it's in 1080p, and that's the white balance. That's the 3 minute. What it does, it records. You can change it from 3, 5, and I think there's 8 minutes cycle. So it records, basically it records 3 minutes and moves on to the next clip, and eventually when the card's full it'll just go back to the start of the card and record over. That's telling you the microphone's on. Okay, there's the battery. That's telling you there's an SD card in there, the time obviously, and then the date, and that's the GPS. It's just flashing at the moment because I've not got it in the car, so the GPS isn't in. The GPS is actually in the car. It's not here connected to the actual device. When you're driving, you can switch it off. I've explained that, and you can actually record. Lock a piece of your recording by pressing this button here. To switch the screen off, you press down, that switches the screen off. Switch it back on again, that takes the microphone. If you want to record when the camera's out, you just press this button here and that just records straight away. You can see that starting to record, and then to stop it you just turn it off. It's quite handy because if you possibly have an accident and you want to take the camera out and maybe video, or you can take photographs with this as well, you can do that. You don't have to leave it in your car. The mode there, that's changing it from the actual the camera to so from video to camera, and then that's your viewing platform as well. So if you go into that, what you can do is you can scroll through the different clips that you've got to watch them, and at the bottom there you can see you can play it. So to actually play it, you just press OK there, and it's going to start playing that section of video that you've got. Okay, I'm going to go through back to the normal camera. So we'll just go into the menu. Okay, so you've got resolution. If you click OK, you can go to that. I see I've got a 1080p. We'll go back to the menu. Exposure, that's at 0. Audio recording, I have that on. Number plate, you can program your number plate into it. No, I don't have mine in it. Video length, that's what I was saying before. It's 2, 3 and 5 minutes, so you can change that to whatever time that you want. You can put in 2, 3 or 5 minutes, it's up to yourself. parking mode. And what this does, when you put it in parking, you've parked it up, you can turn that on, and if somebody hits the vehicle, it'll start to record, which is quite good. You can rotate display, time and date stamp, speed stamp. You can either put that on or take that off. So if you're recording, it does record your speed, but you can actually switch that off so it doesn't record your speed. GPS location stamp, I have that on as well, so you can check where your GPS is, exactly where you are. And the Nextbase stamp, I have that off. G sensor, again, that's for if somebody hits your vehicle. I've got that on medium. And then you go into the other menu, you press menu again, it takes you to this other side menu here. So you've got Wi-Fi there. I don't have the Wi-Fi on. Format SD card, I'll show you that in a second. Time and date stamp, I have that on, and the time zone as well. So it tells you GMT or GMT +1. Obviously we need to change that in this country because of the time difference we have in summer and winter. So I'll go back to obviously language, speed, you can change the speed, screensaver, I don't bother with that, and device sounds. I think we'll switch them off. Auto power off, so it just shuts down after a while, and system info. I'm just going to go back to this format SD card. Now what I tend to do is every 2 weeks I will format the card, so you just click OK, and what it does is it formats the card, so it deletes all the data that's on there. It's good to do that I do it every 2 weeks, because what can happen sometimes if you don't do it and you keep leaving it and leaving it and leaving it, what will happen is the screen will actually freeze. Sometimes I had that happen a couple of times. So to connect it to the computer, you can actually use a cable that plugs into the top of the camera, and then you plug the USB into your computer. I don't tend to do it that way. What I do is I take the SD card out, because what I tend to do is leave the camera in the car. So I take the SD card out and I use one of these micro adapters, SD adapters, and I put that in there, and then that just slots into the side of the computer like that. So from the desktop, I'm going to open Datacam Player. So we open Datacam Player, it opens the window. I'm going to go to File, just make that full screen, go to File, and then you want to select the Nextbase. It's already pre-selected it on mine, but if you scroll down you'll see Nextbase. This is on a Mac, and I'm going to select a clip from the right hand side to open, to look at. So I'll have this clip, just open that. So we've selected the clip that they want, and that opens it up in the window, and you can see the actual view from the camera there. On the bottom left, that tells you the Nextbase camera. It's a 312 GW. That's the time, and then we go on to the actual date, the speed, and then the GPS coordinates. On the right hand side you can see we've got a map. It tells you exactly where you are, and you can actually change that to Google satellite view, and you can zoom in to where you actually were, and you can zoom out again. At the bottom you've got your timeline here. It tells you the speed in kilometers, and you can move that across to any particular point that you want to, and you can select wherever you want to go to. Also on the bottom it also tells you the altitude and the velocity. On the right hand side you can take a screenshot or a capture of the video. You can zoom in. You can also crop it to look at a particular thing on the clip, and you can trim the clip as well. And again, in real-time playing, you can see that it monitors the speed, so that's always changing. And also on the right-hand side on the map, you can see the vehicle moving as well, so it actually real-time monitors where the vehicle is. So overall, it's quite a good program to use. I don't use it too much because I use a different program for editing my videos for vlogs and stuff like that, but it is a good program. So that's the camera in the car. We have hardwired the camera in. I prefer to do that, then there's no wires trailing down the dashboard. It just keeps them out of the way. The way it's wired in is up through the back of the rear view mirror, and it's tucked in behind the windscreen, at the top of the windscreen, behind the cover, and then it follows that along and goes down the A-frame behind this pillar. As it drops down behind this section here, I took the earth wire and I brought that, and it's earthed round about there on the car. There's a metal screw in there, I earthed it to there, and then the fuse box on the Cougar is just underneath the glove compartment, and that's where the you can just see there, it's on a piggyback fuse. So you take the original fuse out, you plug the piggyback in and plug the two fuses that you need into the piggyback, and that's just situated there, which is underneath the glove compartment. So the camera is wired in to switch live, so that basically means that when the engine starts, the camera will switch on, and when you switch the engine off, the camera goes off. I prefer it that way. It's just easier. You don't have to think about the camera switching it on, starting it, or doing anything with it. So if we just start the engine up, you'll see that the camera has come on and it's live. So obviously when you switch the engine off, it takes about 10 seconds or so. It'll keep recording and then it'll just switch off. So from a driver's perspective, when you're sat here, it's not really that intrusive really. You can see it, but it's not really in your face. That's why I put it in the middle of the vehicle. So I hope that's been of help to some people who have dash cams. Please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Thank you. Bye bye.